Hi everyone and welcome to this video lecture. In this video, we are diving deep into the waterfall model because nothing says fun like linear processes and detailed documentations. Imagine you're baking a cake for a party. You wouldn't frost it before you baked it, right? That would be a sticky, gooey mess. Similarly, in software design, some processes need to happen in a strict order. You can't jump to the coding phase without a solid design, just like you can't skip the baking and go straight to the sprinkles, right? See? Orderly cake baking and everything is going smoothly. So, what exactly is the waterfall model? It is one of the most traditional and the oldest software development processes where tasks flow in a linear step by step manner, just like, you guessed it right, a waterfall. Each stage flows neatly into the next with no going back, or at least not easily. Many modern methods evolved from it, so understanding this is like knowing the roots of a tree. Who would have thought this course will have so many nature analogies? Let's break down the key stages of the waterfall model. First, we have requirements. This is where we figure out exactly what the software needs to do. Think of it as writing down the recipe for our cake. What ingredients do we need, and what kind of cake are we making? Next comes design. We create a blueprint for the software, outlining its architecture and how it will work. This is like sketching out what our cake will look like and how it will be constructed. Then, and only then, we move to implementation, the actual coding. We are now baking the cake, putting all the ingredients together according to our recipe and our design. After that, we have verification, where we test the software to make sure it works as expected. This is like tasting our cake to make sure it's delicious and doesn't have any unexpected surprises. And then comes the stage that it's maintenance here, but sometimes we have deployment and maintenance together. And deployment is where we release the software to the users, like bringing the cake to the party. And the maintenance is where we fix any bugs that pops up and provide ongoing support. This is like making sure our cake stays fresh and tasty for everyone to enjoy. Let's see how this works in practice with a simple example, creating a website. And first up is requirements. Define the purpose. What's the goal of the website? Is it to sell products, provide information, or something else? Then identify the target audience. Who will be using the website? This will help you identify the content, design, and functionality. And finally, gather requirements. What features are needed? Should it have a blog, contact form, e commerce capabilities, or other specific functionalities? Then we move to designing the website. And the first stage would be, for example, creating the wireframe. Sketch out the basic layout and structure of the website, including the arrangement of elements like header, navigation bar, content area, etc. We can also think about designing user interface. What colors, fonts, and images could align with the website's branding and target audience? We could also think about planning the user experience. Consider the user journey and how users will interact with your website. Make sure it is intuitive and easy to use. Then, and only then, we move to implementation. We can, for example, choose a content management system or framework. And by that, I mean selecting a platform that suits the website needs and developers' skills. Then we need to do the actual thing, which is the developing of the website, which is writing the code to bring the design to life. That can include, for example, using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And after that, we need to integrate the features, add the required features such as blog, content form, or e-commerce functionality. Then we move to verification. Does this work? Test the functionality. Ensure all features work as intended, such as form submitting correctly, link working, e commerce transactions processing. We also need to test the usability, conduct user testing to gather feedback on websites' ease of use and identify any issue. It's also, for example, good to know if it is browser compatible. Make sure the website displays and functions correctly on different browsers and devices. And after that, we can move to deployment. Choose a hosting provider. Select a hosting provider that meets a website needs in terms of storage, bandwidth, security, and also budget. Then we upload the website, transfer all the website files to the hosting server, and then we set up the domain name, email accounts, and other necessary configuration. Okay, you have your website. What's the next stage? Here is what we call the maintenance stage. And this is where we now and then update the website, add new content, fix broken links, and update outdated information. We also monitor, for example, website performance, keep an eye on its traffic, loading speed, security. And then it's also the stage to provide support, assist users with any questions or issues. And there you have it. Your website is up and running. Sounds cool, right? Well, yes and no. Like everything in the world, the waterfall models comes with both pros and cons. And before I tell you the pluses and minuses, pause the video for a moment and see if you can come up with the answers yourself. How did it go? Do you have your list ready? Let's check it against mine. One major pro is simplicity. The model is straightforward and easy to understand. It's like following a recipe step by step. Another advantage is documentation. Each step requires comprehensive documentation from the previous step. This can be a lifesaver, especially for large projects or when new team members join. Now for the downside. The waterfall model is known for its rigidity. It's highly inflexible, making it difficult to accommodate changes once a stage is complete. It's like realizing halfway through baking your cake that you forgot an ingredient. What should you do? Start all over again. The next one is long delivery time. You need to wait for the entire project to be completed before seeing the working product. It's like waiting until the whole cake is baked before you can have a single bite. And then is testing delay. Comprehensive testing is done only before the final deployment, which means bugs can be discovered late in the process. And finally, it is customer feedback. You have the limited opportunity for that. Since the customer doesn't see a working version until the end, it is hard for them to provide feedback and request changes. It seems the waterfall model isn't all that good. Well, it depends on the project. Let's break down the project properties into first requirements, then project size, then budget and time constraints, then client involvement, and finally the development environment. And see when to use waterfall and when to avoid waterfall. If the project requirements are well defined and stable, go for waterfall. If, on the other hand, it's evolving or unclear, avoid it. For the project size, if it is small to medium, waterfall can work. But if it is complex and large, it's better to avoid because if one thing goes wrong, the whole project is in danger. Uh, if it is strictly fixed about time and budget, let's use waterfall. But if we have plenty of time on our hand, there are other better methods. If we can't or don't want to have client involvement, then waterfall may be a good option. If not, and if we want frequent feedback, then it's better to avoid waterfall. As for the development environment, if it's predictable, we use waterfall. And if not, if it is innovative or uncertain, we use something else. Let's give you an example. Boeing, for example, uses waterfall model for the developing avionics softwares for the planes. The systems are safety critical and their development must comply with strict regulations. It is where the waterfall model works best because the requirements are clearly defined upfront, changes are costly and risky, and each phase undergoes rigorous documentations and review. Now it's your turn. Let's see if you can design a school app using waterfall method. Think about all the stages needed and what do you need to do in each stage. Pause the video here and think for a few minutes to see if you got a hang of it. Okay, what did we learn today? First up, we learned what waterfall models are. We learned about the linear step by step nature. We also talked about their pros and cons. And also, we discussed when to use waterfall on what projects, what constraints to consider, and when to avoid using waterfall models. But wait a second. Uh, what if we have a situation in which a stage is missing, or if the client asks for a new feature halfway, what do we do? Well, waterfall definitely does not seem to be the answer here. And that is what you're going to learn next session. But for now, if we want to think of waterfall as a strict parent, agile is on the other hand is the fun, flexible sibling, and that is what we're going to discuss next session. So get ready for a more dynamic and collaborative way of building software. See you next time.